Welcome to the Empowerment Hour, a podcast dedicated to the woman ready to take charge of her life, live in her purpose, and be unapologetically authentic. I am your host, Nancy Ruffin, award-winning author, mommypreneur, and the self-proclaimed Latina Oprah who is dedicated to helping women unleash their power, discover their purpose, and live up to their fullest potential. My goal is to empower you, inspire you, and help you unlock your passions and discover your purpose so that you live the most fulfilled and impassioned life. If you're ready to make a change and start living on purpose, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Empowerment Hour podcast. It's your girl, Nancy Ruffin. And joining me on tonight's episode is none other than Mogul Mami, real estate entrepreneur, Yesenia Gonzalez. Now, Yesenia is someone who I befriended on Instagram. And like all social media connections, they're only as great as you make them. So not only did we connect online, but we connected in real life, and since then have developed an amazing friendship. So tonight I am talking to Yesenia about what it means to be a real estate entrepreneur, coupled with being a mom, a wife, and also a cancer survivor. So Yesenia really opens herself up, and she talks about what her diagnosis was like, how she broke the news to her daughter, how that conversation, came about, and how collectively and together they are now building an amazing brand through their Luxe Urban Latina brand that they've recently launched. So I encourage you all to go and get a pen and paper, because Yesenia not only gives amazing business advice, but she really drops some life gems too. So sit tight, get your beverage of choice, and be ready to learn some things tonight. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so I'm back, and as we continue with our Passion, Purpose, Paycheck series, I have none other than the Passion, Purpose, Paycheck Queen and one of my very great friends, Yesenia Gonzalez, aka Brooklyn Jessie. Say hi, Jess.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me on tonight.
Well, thank you for being on. And guys, I really wanted to have Jessie as my guest. One, because she is an amazing and shrewd businesswoman. So she has tons of gems to share with us all tonight. But even more than the amazing businesswoman she is, she's just a phenomenal mom, friend, wife. I mean, she wears all of these different hats. She's recently launched her own brand, and it's like expanding into from everything from real estate into t-shirts and bracelets. She is really building her empire. So I really wanted to get her in here and kind of talk about all of the things that she's doing. So just kind of tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, and what has inspired you to really take this entrepreneurial route, and why it's important to you to be in business for yourself.
Well, the whole idea came about after I had my daughter. I was using my degree. I was working at a school. I was doing play therapy. I had studied psychology. I was doing play therapy with early childhood children. And I really, in my heart, I never even thought about doing anything else. I thought that's what I was going to retire doing. It wasn't until the day my daughter was born, and I held her in my arms and looking at her, and your whole world changes. Everything changes, because now you have this higher purpose.
Right.
It even inspired me in terms of, I grew up going to church, but it was something that, I had left behind a long time ago. But even just holding her and looking at her saying, my God, how were you alive in my belly for 9 months? You know, it restored my faith. It reconnected me with God. So as far as work went, I said, there is no way that I can go back to that grind, you know, to those early mornings, coming home exhausted.
Right.
Unfortunately, the school I was in was abusing the program that I had. So I wasn't only seeing my, 16 kids that I was supposed to see for the week. I was getting all sorts of kids dumped on me, older children, violent children.
Right.
There were times where I was hit and punched, and I was breaking up fights every day. And I just knew it was mentally exhausting. So I knew that I didn't want to come home to my child and be mentally exhausted.
Right.
So at the same time, I had this obsession with HGTV, and I also would always renovate my friend's apartment. You know, I was the one that would pick out the tiles and the colors and the pillows and the sofa. You know, I was into the decorating thing.
And that's that's where the passion comes in, right? Because you're talking about something that you loved to do, something that you enjoyed, and you weren't getting paid for any of this at this point.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So my brother was already in real estate. So he's the one that pointed it out to me.
Right.
You know, he's like, but you love, looking at apartments, and you love decorating, and you love, he was like, look, take the class. What's the worst that could happen? You lose a couple $100. That's it.
Right.
You go back to your job. There's nothing lost. And I said, you're absolutely right. So I'm going to do it. And I fell in love with it. You know, there's just this freedom when you can create your own schedule, and you're really in control of how much money you're going to make. No one can tell you, well, this year you're only going to make X amount of dollars. No, I'm going to make whatever I work for.
And how do you keep your drive and your ambition, let's say, during the slow seasons, or where you're not, selling homes or renting as many apartments as you would like? How do you kind of sail past through that, so that you're not feeling defeated or like you feel like giving up? Because I think that, especially in real estate, we see all of these $1 million listing, all of the, these extravagant shows on TV, and it makes it look, so fabulous, right? And then you get into it and you don't freaking sell a house, you don't sell a home, or you don't rent an apartment, and you have to still make your, make ends meet. How do you push past that, and how have you been able to, maintain your success?
Well, I'll say early on in my career, it was not as easy. The biggest lesson for me was when the stock market crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, it was the real estate boom. So I was like selling an apartment a week, you know. So every open house I had, it would sell the first open house, or would rent the first showing. So that lesson came, once the stock market crashed. The banks weren't lending money. No one was buying. I had listings. I had an entire building full of condos, and no one was showing up. And even if they did show up and want it, no bank was going to lend them the money.
Right.
I really had to be honest with myself and say, how am I going to reinvent myself? And so that was my first experience with reinventing myself. And you always have to be prepared.
Right.
To come up with an idea, to come up with a new strategy. And the way that you do that is you want to look at the people that are extremely successful or that have been doing this for a really long time. So you have to invest in classes. You have to read books. You have to watch YouTube videos. Whatever your craft is, you have to immerse yourself completely.
Yes.
If you're not studying your craft, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. I'm a member of the Real Estate Board of New York, and with your union, or with your dues, your annual dues, as guys call it, it's like a union.
Right.
For real estate agents. They include monthly seminars with some of the top people that are on those TV shows. And even at this point, I go because just listening to that once a month motivates me.
Right. And I would
I'll get one idea that I'm like, you know what, I didn't think of it like that.
Right.
it could be that one little thing that gives you an edge.
Exactly.
But in the downtime, like if people have a downtime cycle, that's the time that you want to work on promoting yourself. So create your postcards, create your brochures, ask people for lunch dates and coffee dates or dinner dates. Attend other networking events. You know, when your business is slowing down, well, then you have to do something else, but maintain that concentration.
Right.
And so that's what works for me.
And so you mentioned that you had to reinvent yourself. So what was that like for you, and how were you able to kind of leverage or expand on the skill sets that you already had to offer something new to your clients or your potential clients and customers?
Well, it was evaluating the market. So sales were no longer happening, but real estate still has other facets.
Mm-hmm.
So look at what your daughter did. So for real estate, it was that I needed to get into rental.
Okay.
And that was something that I didn't want, or in my mind, I was preventing myself from doing it, because to me that was like a step down. Like, you don't go from sales to doing rentals.
Right.
But then in doing it, I actually found that I absolutely love it because it's very fast turnaround. You know, you take the client out. You're never with them more than 2 days.
Right. And I would imagine
they'll either take something or they won't, but you're moving on. It's quick. You get paid at the lease signing. It's not this 6-month investment.
Right. And I would
a roller coaster. It's really a roller coaster in sales.
I would imagine too, though, that those rental customers kind of stay with you, right, for like long term, because you know, when you're renting, you're constantly moving. And then should the time come where they're getting into the market to buy homes, then I would imagine you're the person that they're thinking to come to.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say. The only way you're going to be successful in any field is your customer service skills and giving people an experience.
Right.
You know, I want to show you that I'm not just out for the commission. I really want you to feel comfortable in adapting to whatever neighborhood you move to, or if it's your first time in the city. I want to create an experience for you where I am offering all of my connections to you. So if you need a cleaning lady, if you need a nanny, if you're looking for a new restaurant to try, if I go somewhere new, you know, I want to include you. I want to fill you in. I want to share with you whatever gems I have. And so people really appreciate that. You know, and also being really patient, because for a lot of people this is so stressful. And so again, it's being patient. It's knowing that it's not about me. If they're angry, if they have an attitude, if they're upset, it's not about me. It's not personal.
Right.
I just need to hold their hand and get them through it. You know, I'm here with you, and we're going to do this together.
You know, I think you said something that was really key and so important to today's, I think just everything that we do, customer service is key, you know, to everything. And I personally feel that there's so much that's lacking in customer service, that we've turned into a society where people are just really so concerned with the sale that they're not spending as much time as they should, you know, really kind of courting the customer and giving them that experience that they're never going to forget, only to make that one sale. And what they don't realize is that experience is what's going to keep that client or customer coming back, or it's going to keep them away. Because if you have a bad experience with someone, you know what, you might get that one sale, but they're never going to come back to you.
Exactly. So in any business, you want to take it. Like in my business, they say that people move every 7 years.
Right.
I actually have had clients that move every 2 years, sometimes every year, if they are considering buying and they just want to test out different neighborhoods.
Right.
Sometimes they'll move yearly, but most of the time they're moving every 2 to 3 years. And I've moved people several times. So you really have to look at the long run, you know. Look all the way at the end and see how can you keep them. and
Right.
really communication. Even after the deal is done, and check in on them. How are things going? Are you happy with the choice that you made? Is there anything that I can do to help to make it better?
Absolutely. So
and that's what I think is lacking. People forget to follow up with you.
they do. And I want to shift the conversation a little bit, because I want to talk about how you've been able to kind of, differentiate yourself from other realtors with your Luxe Urban Life brand, and that's quickly expanding into other like streams of income for you. So something that initially started for you as providing like this full service experience in real estate, it's kind of grown into something much bigger. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I came up with the Luxe Urban Life, we are NY Casa Group, but having several agents and having different teams, we have had people that have been with us from the very beginning. There are people that have come on later at a later date, but they have become successful. And so once you start getting a lot of clientele, it's really hard to juggle all the emails and do all the footwork at the same time and do all the preparation that comes in between. So people like to grow teams, and that's very common in real estate. And most of the time, you'll see the Smith team, the Gonzalez team, the Rodriguez team, whatever it is, whatever the lead person's name is. And so for me, I just thought it's kind of crappy if my team has to live in my shadow under my name.
Right.
I wanted to give them a name where they felt proud to share it, where it wasn't like, oh, it's not really about me.
Right.
I wanted everyone to feel equal. And I want everyone to be just as adequate as I am. Like, if I can't be there, I train my team so that it's as though they are me.
Right.
And it's like they would ask themselves, what would Jessie do? And they'll know the answer.
So now,
so there's a lot of hands-on training. So I also wanted the name to reflect that we do things, or that I do things in a very different manner. Some agents don't want to decorate your apartment. They don't want to help you find the key things.
right.
But that was something to me that was very important.
Right.
It's just who I am and how I want to deliver, again, my customer service. So I wanted the name to reflect that I can provide you with anything that you need.
The Luxe Urban Life, right? Right.
Exactly.
And so you've also, though, you're continuing to expand on this brand, because I know that you and your daughter have recently created the Luxe Urban Latinas. So can you talk a little bit about that brand and what you and your daughter, I guess, what your vision is for it?
Well, that actually came about as I started getting requests to do public speaking engagements or to, be at certain events and just talk about business tactics and things like that. I met so many other Latinas.
Right.
And I was inspired by them. And there were all these different women that I met that do all different types of entrepreneurial businesses. And I felt like no one's recognizing them.
Right.
I know that there's many Latina pages, but they really concentrate on sharing celebrities.
Right. Yes.
And I thought it wasn't even an idea where I was like, this is going to go somewhere. I was like, if only my crew follows it, but we're highlighting each other.
Right.
I want to feature them. I want my people, my contacts, my clients to know, again, the Luxe Urban Life, that here are all these women. Here's a seamstress. Here's a chef. Here's a event planner. Here's a life strategist. Here's an author. Here's, again, just connecting people.
Yes.
And I'm just so surprised and humbled that so many people are following it. I think we're approaching 1,000 followers.
That's amazing.
And surpassed that already.
And I'm not surprised at all. At all. I mean.
And then, like, the few items that we decided to share for Shop Small. They're almost sold out. Like, we probably have our last 4 T-shirts, maybe the last 5 bracelets left. And again, it's just, when I was coming up, I didn't really see Latinas,
right,
being everything that they could be. Now, my mother always told me.
Right.
There was never anything that kept me, closed-minded. My parents were always very supportive and always said you could be whatever you want to be.
Right, but you never saw it. Right.
I never actually saw them, in my everyday, day-to-day living. So for me, it's so important, again, having a child, your whole mindset just shifts. And I'm like, I want her to see and be inspired by all these women because I'm inspired by them. So I want her to be inspired by them. And I think in having her with me and taking her with me to all these events, you especially have really changed her life and her outlook on life and how she's approaching her goals and what she wants to do.
I think she's an amazing young just person. I think she has a really great sense of self for someone so young. I mean, there's grown women who are not as secure and sure about themselves and their future as your daughter is about hers. And I think that's impressive. But more than that, I think that it's a great testament to you and your husband because she is a reflection of everything you both are pouring into her at home, so yes, she can be influenced by, people like myself and other women, but it really comes from, the home. That's the base, that's the foundation. And if that is not strong, it doesn't matter what anyone, shows her or tells her, she'll be very easily shaken, but she's not. She's a very strong young, woman. And I know you're super proud of her. Shit, I'm proud of her. And she's not even my daughter.
Of course. But also that comes from struggle.
Right.
So I want everyone to know that your struggles will make you greater.
Absolutely.
Understand that all of your hardship or anything that happens to you, there is a greater meaning behind it. And so for her, I'm not going to talk about what her struggle was. I'm going to let her do that.
Right.
It's her story to share.
Right.
But she went through something very traumatic, and that's actually thanks to you. You had told me, you know what? Bring her to my vision board workshop. And she had all these ideas, but because of what she went through, she wasn't really sure. She was, feeling a little shy about it. She really wasn't. She didn't think it was going to go anywhere for her. And you were like, no. What is your goal? What is it that you're passionate about?
Right.
Write it down. What do you have to do if you're passionate about that? And so that's what got her to open up her Instagram page with the makeup. And she started doing tutorials.
And she's killing it.
She's had a couple of clients. And she's learning. And again, she watches the people that she admires. She watches their YouTube videos. I take her to the conventions. So again, it's just, you have to immerse yourself in whatever it is that you're passionate about.
That's right.
And so she spends time on it. She practices it. She wanted certain equipment, like the ring light. These things are hundreds of dollars. So she wanted certain makeup palettes, that are $60. And I'm like, well, that I'm not going to do because I could take you to the elf store and buy some $5 palettes, to practice with. But it was something that she wanted so bad that she thought of ways to make some money. So she was like, I'm going to make lip scrubs. I'm going to sell this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to offer doing makeup for $20. So she did things to build up her own money.
This is right.
Now, could I have just gone and bought it for her? Yeah,
but this is her.
That's not the lesson. She needed to get the lesson.
Right. Well, this is her also turning that passion, right, or the purpose into her passion, and then the paycheck. She has been able to do that so beautifully and not effortlessly because it's a lot of work. But I mean, if a teenage girl can do this and figure it out, there's no reason why grown women can't do it. And I'm not even here for the excuses where this is the end of the year. We're starting a new year. So for all of you that are out there that are loyally listening to my podcast, I want you to leave all your damn excuses in 2017. And for the new year, you got to figure shit out. There's something you want. You don't have it. You're not sure how to get it. You need to put your thinking caps on and figure it out. Because how old is Jay? She's 13?
13.
If a 13-year-old can do it, then you most definitely can.
That's funny. I ran into someone yesterday. Well, I went to support a school event. They were having a holiday fair with business, all types of businesses were set up tables and they were selling their products. And there's a friend of ours that I honestly did not even know this. She told me that Jay was responsible for opening up her Instagram page and coming up with the name of it. And this lady was saying she's going to be my business manager. I don't know how she knows all these things, but I needed her because I didn't have any of those things. So the tool she gave me is putting my product in front of, new customers.
Let me tell you that.
So yes, there is no excuse for adults.
No, none.
And if you don't know how to get started, you can hire Jamie.
Exactly. Yes, and that's the thing, that you can hire anybody for anything nowadays. But I've kept you, I think, a little bit longer than what I said I would. But before I let you go, I wanted to talk really quickly about something. I don't know if many of the people that follow you know, because it's not something you talk about hardly ever, but you are a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And
I actually don't mind talking about it. I really should talk about it.
You should.
And if anyone is ever diagnosed or you have any medical concerns, I would be more than happy to help you.
Right. Well, I think...
And really take the time to let you know in detail what my experience was. I know we won't have that much time to do that now, but yeah, if anyone is ever faced with that, I'm here.
Well, because I think that your story, it's inspirational. I think that it's something you should talk about because it lends itself to, perseverance and not allowing anything to kind of defeat you and keep you down. And you've managed to just build such a successful career for yourself. You've been an excellent role model for your daughter. This is a young girl who's, super confident, albeit she might be a little shy, but, she believes in herself. And all of that comes, I think, from what she sees in you. And so I wanted to talk about your diagnosis because you shared something with me the other day that she had said to you. And, I wanted you to share that and share how you responded to her and how that made you feel.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the day that I found out that I had cancer, I was alone. I wasn't expecting to get this news, when I go to my doctor. For me, I was crying and I was devastated, not because I feared dying. I felt like, and I still feel like I'm in such a spiritual space with my faith that I don't fear death at all. It was, I can't die or nothing can happen to me because I have to be here for my daughter. Like, I will not leave my daughter to fend for herself.
Right.
Daddy is there, but no one can replace mommy.
Right.
A woman and with her child, there's nothing that can replace that. So she was my motivation through the whole experience. If I didn't have her, the experience would have been a lot different.
Right.
Because it's really hard to be in the hospital and being poked and probed and biopsies and samples and surgeries. And some days you're there and the alarms are going off because people next to you are dying.
Right.
It's very difficult. And so I see sometimes people pass very quickly or they can't deal with it because it's so emotionally and mentally draining.
Right.
But for me, I was like, I have to ignore all that. There's no way that I'm going to succumb to that. I can't be weak over this. I have a child to look for.
Right.
So she was my strength. And at the time, she was so young that I didn't tell her what it was.
Right.
Now, of course, as she got older and as people started just talking about it, I'm like, I have to really explain to her what happened. And mine was uterine cancer, so I did get a full hysterectomy.
Right.
At the end, that was the only way to prevent it from spreading.
Right.
So, when I had the conversation with her, I knew that it was something that was going to worry her, but I keep the communication lines open. Anytime she wants to talk about it, any questions that she has, I'll explain it to her. And there's some months where she has more questions, and then there months will pass and she never talks about it, and she never asked me anything about it. So last week was parent-teacher conference, and she has a big project, writing assignment that she has to do, and they wanted her to talk about fear. What does she fear, and how does she overcome that fear? And she wanted my permission. She wanted to ask me if it's okay that she writes about the fact that I had cancer, because it's something that she thinks about every single day.
Oh my God.
And it's the only thing that she fears. So of course, when she tells me this, I'm like,
I know.
My heart is sinks, and I'm choked up. And I'm just like, you know what, baby, you don't have to worry. And I explained to her, as the years have gone on and I am approaching my 5-year mark, once I hit that, it is very unlikely that I will ever get it again.
Right.
And I told her, yes, I want her to write. I don't want to influence her writing, and I don't want to influence what her raw emotions are about it.
Right.
So I told her, just write, just put it all out there, and then I'll read it. Plus, it's going to be very emotional for me to read it.
Yes.
So, I never really thought about that she thinks about it every day.
I know. How did that make you? Well, how did that make you feel when you?
Fear.
Right.
And that for me was heartbreaking. I can't even imagine what that must feel like. Like, you wake up every day and you're like, wow, my mom is here. Or, like, I never experienced anything like that. So when she just said those words to me, that's what she fears, that's her only fear, that she fears nothing else except for me never to be sick again.
Right.
I mean, it absolutely broke my heart.
Yeah, and I would imagine.
I'm just like,
and there's nothing.
I don't even have the words to describe how it made me feel, because my number one thing is to protect her and to comfort her, but it's me that is causing the fear to her. Right.
There's nothing you can. There's nothing you can do to release her of that fear. I mean, there's nothing. All we can do is trust God's plan for our lives and put our trust and faith in Him. But when you shared this with me, it's one of those heart-wrenching things, especially if you're a parent, and you can absolutely put yourself in those shoes. I don't know. It's a tough position to be in. And I thank you for, sharing it with me in the private, and now also sharing it here, with my listeners, because I think it's important for us to share sometimes these very personal things, because there's so many of others out there, going through the same or similar situations. And sometimes we feel like we're alone. But when we hear others talk about it, it does bring some solace and it helps.
Well, if she does anything, I just want people not to sweat the small stuff. Like, people sometimes go, it's not real. How can you be happy every day? How can you always be so positive? How can you always... And then I look at them and I say, because I had cancer at one point.
Right.
And my biggest fear was that I was going to die.
Right.
So now every morning when I open my eyes, I'm like, thank you, God. This is another day that I get to be with my loved ones and do what I love.
Right.
And nothing else matters. Really, nothing else matters. You can't sweat life. Like, people love to, like, it's too short. It really is.
It really is.
It really is. So I want everyone just to truly not sweat the small stuff. Don't get angry. Don't get aggravated at little things. If you have your health and you have your loved ones, really.
You have everything.
You have exactly. You're rich.
Yep.
You have everything that you need. And go after your dreams. What's the worst that can happen? You go back to your day job.
That's right. And at least and even with that, you still have a paycheck coming in. So.
But that's really, for me, what, that's my motivation. That I have this second chance at life.
Right.
And I teach my daughter that. You know what? Just go after whatever you want to do.
And just do it.
Fear is just something, what I always tell her, fear is something that's not real. Because fear is not something that you can touch and hold. Right. Fear is something that you make up in your head. No one else can even validate that.
Right.
So to me, fear doesn't exist. Fear is not real. And so that's what we talk about now. And it's very important for me to find time for my daughter. I know a lot of parents feel like they're teenagers now. I don't have to worry about them.
Right.
Going through this whole high school process with her. I even see people on the tours and they're like, oh, she's going to decide where she goes and she's going to, they're giving these teenagers a lot of freedom and responsibility. But I think that's when they're most vulnerable.
Right.
When they become insecure.
Yeah.
When they have a lot of questions about themselves and their emotions and how they're growing. So for me, I think this is when they need us the most.
Right.
When she was a baby, it didn't matter.
Right.
I really worked around the clock when she was a baby. But she's just playing.
Right.
She didn't need anything.
Right.
She didn't need words of encouragement. She didn't need motivation. She didn't need the quarterback.
Right. Right.
Now I have to be her quarterback in all aspects of life. And especially the way things are.
And I think you're doing an amazing job. And she is a phenomenal young woman. And I really want to thank you for, joining me tonight, for sharing so much of yourself and your story. It's really inspirational. And you really, you're a woman that, continuously inspires and motivates me. So thank you, for that. And before I let you go, I want you to just let my listeners know where, how can they connect with you?
Oh, sure. Well, my personal Instagram is Brooklyn Jessie.
Okay.
If you have any questions or you need any type of support, you can always send me a DM. I look at those. My business page is at Luxe Urban Life, LuxEUrbanLife. And that's where I show all my apartments and the things that we do, how we stage them, how we decorate them. So if you're interested in real estate, if you need an apartment or a house, if you need to get rid of an apartment or a house, or if you're interested in a new career,
right,
definitely hit me up on that. And then if you want to check out the new stuff that we're doing, which is just highlighting the New York City women, and if you have something that you'd like featured, you can definitely also hit us up on Luxe Urban Latinas. Yeah, so those are the 3 pages.
Well, thank you so much, honey. And to all my listeners, thank you for faithfully tuning in for another episode of the Empowerment Hour podcast. And, I hope you all have a good night and have a fabulous week and go out there and crush some goals.